Imagine for a moment that you have just been put under general anesthesia for a medical procedure. You feel a cold sensation in your arm, a sudden detachment from the room, and then total silence. When you wake up, you are not just waking up from a nap. You are returning from a place where you did not exist. There was no passage of time, no dreams, and no sense of self. This total oblivion is a modern kind of magic that highlights one of the deepest mysteries of our lives. How does a 3-pound organ inside your skull create the vibrant, colorful, and emotional experience of being alive right now? We often move through our days taking our existence for granted, yet everything we value, from a beautiful sunset to the love we feel for our family, only exists through the medium of consciousness. If the lights go out in the brain, the world disappears. This mystery is the final frontier where biology meets philosophy, and understanding it might just change how you perceive every second of your reality. Contextually, we often think of our minds as separate from our bodies, like a pilot flying a plane. We assume that our eyes are cameras and our ears are microphones, simply recording what is happening outside. But the science of the mind is revealing a much more active and strange story. Our brains are locked in a dark, silent vault of bone. They never see light or hear sound directly. Instead, they receive a constant stream of noisy electrical signals. From these messy pulses, the brain must create a best guess about what is happening in the world. This means that your experience of reality is not a direct reflection of what is out there, but a construction made from the inside out. On the surface, we can look at something as simple as color to understand this concept. We believe that red is red and blue is blue, and that these colors exist in the objects themselves. But physics tells us that there are only different wavelengths of light. There is no color in the universe until a brain processes those wavelengths. Some people see a dress as blue and black, while others see it as white and gold, even though they are looking at the exact same photo. This surface-level observation proves that two people can stand in the same room, look at the same thing, and have two completely different conscious experiences. Your world is a unique version of reality that no one else can truly enter. Beneath this surface lies a hidden assumption that we must challenge. We assume that our brain is a hyper-intelligent computer and that our body is just a meat-based vehicle to carry it around. We think of the brain as a machine that processes information, separate from our heart, our gut, and our skin. But a brain is an organ, just like a liver or a kidney. It evolved not to solve math problems, but to keep a living body alive. The hidden truth is that your consciousness is deeply rooted in your biology. Your emotions are not just thoughts, they are the brain's perception of what is happening inside your body. When you see a predator, your heart races and your adrenaline spikes. Your brain perceives these bodily changes and labels that feeling as fear. This means your consciousness is not a separate software running on hardware, it is a full-body experience. You are not a computer, you are a living, breathing biological process. This leads us to a structural pattern in how we perceive the world, which we can call a controlled hallucination. If you think about a hallucination, it is an experience that comes entirely from within the mind without any input from the world. A controlled hallucination is similar, but it is tied to the sensory signals we get from the outside. The brain is constantly making predictions about what is going to happen next. It doesn't wait to see the world, it predicts the world and then uses sensory data to correct its mistakes. This structural loop of prediction and correction is what you experience as reality right now. When the brain's predictions are not controlled by the world, we call it a dream or a hallucination. But when they are successfully controlled by the environment, we call it perception. This pattern explains why we can sometimes see faces in the clouds or hear our name in a noisy room. Our brain is so busy predicting that it sometimes finds patterns that aren't there. We can reframe our entire sense of self using this perspective. We often cling to the idea that there is a solid, unchanging essence of who we are. We think there is a permanent soul or a fixed personality. But if the self is also a controlled hallucination, then the self is a process, not a thing. Just like your perception of color, your perception of being you is a best guess made by your brain to help you navigate life. This is why people can change so much over time or after a brain injury. If the brain's way of predicting the body changes, the person changes. This might sound scary, but it is actually quite liberating. It means that you are not stuck in a fixed identity. You are a continuous flow of transformation. You are a story that the brain tells itself every day to keep the body safe. Applying this to daily life means becoming more aware of the filters we use to see the world. When you feel a strong emotion like anger or anxiety, you can stop and realize that your brain is making a guess based on your heart rate and your surroundings. You can ask yourself if there is another way to interpret those signals. This awareness can help us be more empathetic toward others. If we know that everyone is living in their own controlled hallucination, we can understand why people have different opinions and different reactions to the same events. We can also look at technology with more caution. As we build artificial intelligence and brain interfaces, we must ask if these machines can truly share our biological consciousness or if they are just mimicking the surface. Understanding that your mind is tied to your living body helps you appreciate your physical health, your sleep, and your environment as essential parts of your mental clarity. As we go deeper, we realize that this biological view of the mind has been part of ancient traditions for thousands of years. Many philosophies have taught that the self is an illusion or a moving target. Modern neuroscience is now finding the biological mechanisms that prove these old insights. This convergence of science and wisdom offers a profound comfort. It suggests that even as our memories fade or our bodies age, the process of consciousness continues as a beautiful, unified dance between the brain and the world. We are not just observers of the universe, we are the universe experiencing itself through a very specific, living lens. Every moment of awareness is a miracle of biological engineering. Whether we are under anesthesia or wide awake, the fact that we experience anything at all is the most important fact of our lives. If your entire experience of the world and yourself is actually a best guess constructed by your brain, what part of your identity would you be most willing to change if you knew it was just a useful story?